What's your favorite food and what is Laura's?
Mexican.
I would agree with that.
Mexican food. Rice and beans, right? Chips, dip rice and beans.
Oh yeah, especially at
Mhm.
Disneyland.
Yeah,
Their lime chips with the rice and beans, so good.
yeah.
Where did Laura get her funny personality from? Was she always like that?
Yes. She grew up that way. She just came out of the womb snickering and laughing and telling jokes and quick-witted. But then so is Trenton, so that's something you and Trenton have in common.
Mm-hmm. What is the funniest family memory you have?
When we drove the fifth wheel when we would go places and we lost Keston and he had fallen in the toilet of the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
He had fallen into we couldn't find him.
Oh no.
And he had fallen into the toilet of the fifth wheel. So
There you go. That was funny.
hands and feet out, guys. He didn't fall head first. It was more he went to sit on it and slid down, and
Yeah.
we found him with his hands and feet yelling, "Help!" Yeah.
What is your favorite dinner and dessert?
It's not really a dinner, but biscuits and gravy with hash browns.
That's dinner.
Okay, dinner.
What
Okay.
dessert?
I would say German chocolate brownies with ice cream.
My mom played a big part in my eating disorder development. How much do you think is nature versus nurture? I think she's referring to like my binge eating and like my bulimia when I was in middle school and early high
That
school.
goes back to the question that the interpreter asked me, how difficult did I think it was for you to have a mother. Okay, disclaimer, guys. I used to weigh 225 pounds. I'm now about 145, but I was 225 pounds
Yeah.
after I had Laura, and then I stopped nursing her, and then kind of lost it. But then mentally, having a husband tell you, you better pray you never put on weight, it really does. Because even when I would get sick as being pregnant, don't complain about being sick. I don't want to hear it. We're not going to talk about you being sick. Just don't put on any weight. I do think that you might have caught me just because I would eat salads, and I really kind of watched what I did and how I ate, and I don't know that those habits bled over. But, and then I ran a lot, because again, don't ever put on weight, and it wasn't like I was ever heavy, but I mean, I could fluctuate 10 pounds like everybody can. But when you're, mentally in a place where you feel like you have to, be the certain version, as the his friends and the people on our ward referred to me as his arm candy, which also puts you in a stigma, and it just, I do believe there is some nature to it. I do believe that subconsciously in our own way, our concerns about appearance and our concerns about weight bleed over, because you watched me struggle with
That's
trying
nurture.
to nurture. Nurture goes on. I would say nurture is the part of me trying to help you.
Well, nature is your own self versus like the people around you would be nurturing.
Right, but what I'm saying is you watched me struggle.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah. So I think it's both pretty even. I don't think you can say, oh, there's nothing that I did that led her to have these struggles, or I did everything right, or I did everything wrong. I just think that we're at a place now that all we can do is look back and hopefully help someone else pull themselves out of it and say, look, this is definitely something as a mother. There are things I would do differently. Can't go back, can't change it, but there are things that I would do differently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put so much stock in a ex-husband that I just,
Well, and I think I definitely feel like my environment growing up with him, like, didn't help anything.
yeah.
I felt like because of everything that was going on, I was taking everything out on myself, and it just kind of bled into that eating disorder. But I feel like a lot of it's nature too, because I have a very all or nothing personality.
Mhm.
So it's either I'm bulimic and I'm throwing up everything I eat, or I'm binging. It's taking me a long time. Even now I struggle with that. But I feel like I have more coping skills and
Well, and I think
using
as you
them.
get older, you do tend to be, you have the ability to adapt. I can remember growing up, my mother telling me I needed to lose 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
She,
But you never like told me that.
well, yeah, but I can remember. I mean, that's a couple years ago. Mom's like, yeah, you could stand to lose 10 pounds. I mean, yeah, just a couple years ago. So, I mean, because, you know, you do fluctuate as you get older and, you know, go through menopause or whatever. Yes, folks, I'm pushing 50. But growing up, you know, I had already started that cycle of, oh my gosh, I've got to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds. Mom says that, you know, and so I do the low carb diet, and then I would lose weight. But then when I had you, I put on quite a bit. And so I got way higher than, you know, and so it was, I think that's when it started. So it's not all my ex-husband, folks. It wasn't everything, but it was when you're already in that mindset of you have to watch, because you got that 10 pounds you got to lose. You don't want to put that on, and then it just carries over decade after decade. I think it just, you get into that roller coaster. And I think even people that are, you know, thinner have image issues.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, I don't think anybody's completely 100% satisfied with their body, but I think I'm at a point now that I'm comfortable with me, and I'm comfortable if, you know, if I put on 5 pounds, I'm okay with that. You know, I just, you get to a point where you're comfortable with who you are,
Yeah.
and I think that's where we need to get to.
Why do you think Laura became interested in mental health?
Can we say childhood trauma?
Yeah, you can say that.
Just life. I mean, we knew that she was going to do something that had to do with children, and I think because of her life experience, she decided, hey, I know what it's like to be A, B, and C. I know what it's like to go through these things. I want to help children cope.
Yeah.
So you could see that transformation coming. It was a no-brainer.
If I'm being completely honest with you, though, when I took my psych classes, my first ever psych classes when I was getting my bachelor's, the only reason I took them was for writing, to like better understand like character motivation and mental, like the mental health side of things for when I was writing. And then I don't know, I kind of got hooked. So it wasn't, I didn't go into that thinking.
No, probably not, but you could see how it would be easy to shift into that, just given your experiences.
Did you and Laura always have a close relationship?
I think so. Am I wrong? Well, you were very independent, very quiet, very reserved.
I don't know.
There was a little window there where
I feel like we've always been able to like talk to each other and enjoy each other's company and do things together, but I do feel like when you were married to him,
that's what I was going to say. That little window only was a really big window, but I was trying to minimize it, but she just made it bigger, so now I've got to crawl through it.
Yeah, there was a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
So, but I don't feel like we ever like had a bad relationship, but I definitely feel like we weren't that close.
Yeah, being torn between your spouse and your children, but ultimately your children, or in my case, came first. So that's why we're where we are. So, but you do try and balance and keep everybody happy. And unfortunately, I did a really sucky job. That's why I got divorced.
He was just a jerk. He was a class A jerk. Like he could teach other jerks how to be jerks.
I will give her that. He was not the nicest person.
No, he was not.
And I was one of those bleeding hearts who thought that someday he would come around, and it just didn't happen. So it was better to let him go and let him go find his happily ever after, which he did.
Yeah.
He found his happily ever after, and he was happy and lived the last few years of his life blissfully, and that's all you can ask for. I said agree.
Yeah. But again, I don't feel like we've ever had like a bad relationship. And I feel like it kind of goes back to our personalities of, I mean, even when we're angry, we could like move on and have fun together.
Just remember, you're paying me by the hour.
Whatever. $2 an hour, you got it.
Honey, I make $50 an hour, nothing less.
Oh goodness. I like how this is just smack dab in the middle of this. What is your favorite flavor of pie?
Pecan.
Yeah, pecan pie.
Pecan.
I just love pie. I like.
Okay, so people, there's a ongoing debate in this house. Is it pecan or pecan?
I say pecan or pecan. Or wait, no. Pecan.
Pecan.
No.
And I'm going
Pecan?
to solve this for you guys, because it was an ongoing debate until I Googled it and did the Google pronunciation for my stepchildren, and it
And you
says,
trust Google?
no, they actually pronounce it as pecan. But
That's what it was, pecan.
Let me explain the reason behind this. Pecan is the little nut that goes into your pie. A pecan is a can you put under your bed during the winter.
I don't say pecan. I either say pecan.
But put that into perspective
pecan.
now. When you hear somebody say pecan, you be like, pecan pie. Well, I don't want that can out from under your bed.
Yeah, I already knew that.
So
It's gross.
yeah, it's like tomato. Yeah.
Or pecan pie.
Pecan.
Yeah.
If you're really southern, it's pecan.
Well, my dad said pecan.
Yeah.
He was from Mississippi,
I was
so
gonna say
Alabama.
that's that southern slang.
Yeah, I love that, and I love
Cheesecake.
cheesecake. I love key lime. I love sour cream lemon, chocolate. I just like pie.
I don't. I'm not a big pie person.
Hot apple pie with some vanilla ice cream. You make me sad, Mom.
Me and fruit pies, we're just not friends.
That's the only kind of fruit pie I like, though, is just apple.
If it doesn't have chocolate, caramel, or nuts, just don't even waste my time. It's not worth the calories or the run.
Pecan pie
Afterwards, pecan. I know.
is the best, though.
Yeah.
Did Laura's career choice surprise you?
Nope.
It didn't?
Nope.
Are
we
you
just
sure?
had this discussion like 3 or 4 questions back.
I know, but this
No.
is like, did it surprise you at all?
Nope.
I felt like it did. It
Nope.
surprised me.
In your bachelor, when you switched from English major, even though you did a minor in English, and then went into psych and went into the sociology part of it, I knew. Yeah, nope, didn't surprise me at all. When you got irritated by your English teacher, I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew a bombshell was coming, and so now.
They were. No, I did not like being around English majors.
No.
Was there a different career choice that you thought she might be suited for? I'm just reading you the questions. What are you gonna say? Something?
Yeah, I think so. I think he would make an excellent restaurant owner or chef. I could see you actually owning and running a restaurant or a bakery or an
bakery,
eatery.
maybe.
Yeah, because you have that personality, you have the skills, obviously, and you have the collective organizational, you have the background, the monetary side of it. So yeah, I think if you didn't do that, I could totally see you flipping to your other love, like something that you can do versus something you love to do. I would say if you would switch mid gear, I would say owning a restaurant or a bakery. Now, what do you think I would do?
You?
Mm-hmm.
She would run a bed and breakfast with a soup kitchen in it.
Yep. See, I'm an open book, folks. I'm a bleeding heart.
She's been saying that literally for like the last
I
two
have-
decades.
I have books on opening a bed and breakfast, and I just
Uh-huh.
think it would be so cool to meet people and to cook for them, and just I don't know. There's just something about taking care of people and providing an environment where they can enjoy. I don't know. It's just and feeding the homeless. I just think that would be the most fulfilling and rewarding. We do that once a month. Feed the homeless. It's just so rewarding. Somebody walking away with a full stomach, it's just, there's just something fulfilling, because it's something we take for granted, really. It really is. We can go to the fridge and get what we want, and they are lucky to get a meal, so.
Yeah. Did you suspect that you had a burgeoning K-drama addict?
I did not. That, if there's anything in my daughter's personality that threw me for a loop, but yeah, the K-drama, just like out of left field somewhere. It's like, no, couldn't have seen that coming.
And I liked them before they became popular.
You know, when I go to watch my Netflix on my TV, and it says things that shows that you're interested in or that go along with things you're watching, and there's all this K-drama. I'm like, I don't watch. Laura's been on Netflix.
It's hysterical.
We know when Laura's been on Netflix because there's a whole list of trending things that, things you might find interesting. I'm like, why would I find this interesting? Doesn't have a name to it. It's just got a symbol.
Yeah.
And who watches stuff that they can't understand? There's no subtitles.
Yes, there is.
Oh,
You
is
turn
there?
them on, yeah.
Oh, okay. I learned something today.
And it's always hysterical though, because the English translations are always like the weirdest things in the world. I'm always like, they're gonna be wondering what the heck is she watching? Because one of them was like Cleaning with a Passion for Now, which is an adorable K-drama, but the weirdest title ever. But it's just the translations that's just weird.
Yep, didn't see it coming, folks.
Yeah. What do you think is the best quality about each other?
You answer.
The best quality? My mom is
Just remember, I'm paying by the hour.
No, she's extremely generous, but sometimes to a fault.
Oh my word.
Like,
there's always got to be that caveat. You can't just give a compliment and just let it ride.
No, but she literally would do anything for anybody. Like, anybody who was in need of anything, like, she's there. And it actually drove me nuts growing up because we would always get volunteered for everything at church.
The best way
Laurel, do it!
The best way to teach your children to serve is to what?
Is to force them to serve?
Is to give them opportunities to serve.
She's extremely, extremely generous and super forgiving. Like, you can't hold a grudge.
There's one person I can hold a grudge for.
Well, I mean, I think we all
Just
have people
one.
we can.
There's only one, and I repent about it every day. Just one.
Me?
No.
Oh.
No. Somebody who's drugged me into her
I know.
mess
And
will not let me go. It's like, let it go. Let it go. So yeah. It's not so much a grudge as it's just, can we just move on from here? No, I meant in general. Laura, what was the question again?
Best quality.
Best quality, she's got so many, and you want me to I gotta look in her barrel real quick, hold on. You're weird. I am. Like I said, you have half my DNA, so that, sorry, you'll thank me later. Her best quality is, I think it would be the nurturing side. Because, well, the teachable. Because of what you've been through, she's a little bit more empathetic, and she's a little bit more aware, which makes it easier for her to kind of I don't know how, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like, she can tell you what's going on before you even get the scenario out there, because she's in tune. I guess that's the best way to put it. You're in tune. You're aware, you're in tune, and because of that, it makes you very much a kind, understanding individual. You know that she's there for you. She's not just doing her job. She is very much what you see is what you get with her. She's not fake, and that's one thing I think is her best quality. There are people that do their job and then they go home and they just complain about it. That's not Laura. Laura is very much, or even this YouTube, she's loved doing this now that she let me know. And yes, I'm very upset with my son for not sharing.
That's your next question.
Yeah. So, but her genuineness, her just being in tune, and because of being in tune and being aware, and just the going off your therapy aspect, it just makes you much more of a nurturer, and just, yeah, you're not fake. So,
Thank you.
I hope I answered
You
that without
heard it
rambling.
You heard it here first. I am not fake.
She is not
I am
fake.
real. I exist.
There are so many people out there that you listen and they tell you this in person, or you see it on TV, they talk and say this, but then you see them doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
Or, the whole practice what you preach. Laura very much practices what she preaches. And that I think is something that's inspiring, because when you see what's going on in our world today, it's very much a needed quality out there, to be real and to be empathetic, I think. So, which leads to nurture.
What were your thoughts when Laura told you about her YouTube channel and her growing following?
I was fine with the YouTube channel. However, I was not fine with the fact that the child that I traveled every other week, and let me tell you what, we spent many hours in the car and many hours in infusions and many hours talking, never once told me.
She's talking about my brother who knew.
Yes, my son knew before I did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a little bit of a rift there in that relationship, but I was proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have saw that coming. This is not something I would have seen coming.
Yeah.
She did mention wanting to do a blog and just talk about her journey, but that's been a year ago that you talked about doing something like that. Never a blog or whatever. YouTube.
I never thought of doing it.
Mm-mm. That came out of left field as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Have you always had Sunday dinners?
I think so. We've always had dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But when she moved out, and then when she moved out, because you're the only reason now that we do the Sunday dinner, because we always just did dinner on Sunday. Now it's a Sunday dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always done Sunday dinner. It's just done differently now that
Yeah.
Laura's not here.
We've always been pretty good at eating dinners together.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So
It's never been a...
I mean, there may be a day or two, like if Trent had a track meet, or somebody had, or you had to stay at work late, but there was always a dinner or something, so.
Yeah. So yeah, we've always been pretty good about eating dinners together, but I think now that I'm gone,
It's
and
once
I'm not,
a week, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's just like the one time a week we make sure we eat together. And then last question, what does Mama Warrior do for a living?
What don't I do for a living? I
don't
help
know.
my husband with his practice, marketing. I'm here, there, and everywhere. I maintain my licensing in nursing in case I ever need it. So that's, I create websites, I market. Stay-at-home mom for years. I mean, I've been all over the gambit, so. Yeah.
And you've been a nurse in like every...
I've worked in every
Field.
field: endocrinology, oncology, rheumatology, dermatology, orthopedics,
geriatrics too.
and geriatrics. Trying to think. internal med, private practice. Yeah, I've been in Washington State Ombudsman a couple times. So yeah, I've been here, there, and everywhere. So, yep. Gotta love it. Little dab will do you. That's why I bounced around. Actually, one of our clinics was in internal medicine, and they embraced your rheumatology, your endocrinology. We had the oncology, and then I took over and helped the dermatologist create her practice. So when I say I've done all of those, it was all a lot of times within the same umbrella of a group practice. So I kind of floated between them all, but then became primary nurse for this person or MA for this person and this person. So
it was nice growing up because you always had like close friends who were doctors and stuff. So whenever we were sick, they would make like house calls.
Yeah. Police and doctors.
I even got shots at home sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she would go with me to my flu shot clinics and things like that. And I knew, sadly, I knew at a very early age that she would never go into medicine.
No.
Her lack of, I don't even know how it is, don't show her needle because she'll faint, and don't show her blood and the raw meat, all of those thrown together, recipe for no medicine.
No.
So,
I have to, even to this day, I have to lay down when I'm getting my blood drawn.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me so sick. And I swear to goodness, I can feel the blood being sucked out of me. It's like a whooshing sensation in my body. And I know it's probably all mental, but I don't know. Me and bodily fluids and anything like that, that's a no-no. So
There will be another follow-up video to this, and it will be about Laura's. No.
my gag reflex?
Yes,
Yeah, probably.
And her OCD.
I have the worst gag reflex ever.
There's only one thing that will, because I can remember I would, blood, gore, all of that, poop, puke, everything. In my early nursing years, I started out in a nursing home, did it all, been there, infection checks, you name it. Anybody out there that's in the medical field knows exactly what I'm talking about. Graveyard shifts at the nursing home. Yeah. But the one thing that was the most difficult, and that I had one client that, for whatever reason, he couldn't hold his head up straight. And so his head was tilted, and so he drooled. And when I had to feed him and he would try and chew it, and then the food would come out with the drool, I felt so bad for him, but that was the hardest. That is my gag reflex. That and wet hair. That's the only thing that really, I can, anything, but and I think it was just because it was partially chewed up food, and then it was, that's my gag reflex.
Whereas everything makes me gag.
Yeah.
I've literally been throwing up, and then I see my throw up, and then it causes me to throw up more.
If you're like, okay, so I have obviously long hair, so you guys can imagine what my shower drain looks like. And yes, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so you really can't get it cut, colored, or frost. What do we do? Foil? They just put a few strips to hide my gray, my personality sparkles, wisdom sparkles, the little gray things that pop up, make you look like you have an antenna. No, you'd go to pull the hair out of the drain, and it's not cool. Wet hair. So.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's us. The craze, the creepy,
Those were some good questions.
Excellent questions, guys.
Yeah. Good job. Anything else you want to say?
I'm proud of her, and I'm so grateful that you guys have taken the time to get to know my daughter, who I always knew was pretty special. But I think it's one thing for you to know that your family thinks you're pretty cool, but when other people actually find that, hey, there's something special about her, I think it's how that community got created. There's all these special people out there who wanted to get to know other special people, and I just think now that you all can appreciate one another, and I appreciate you for taking the time to ask these questions. And want to get to know a little bit about the other side of the pendulum, I guess you'd say. This is only half of her DNA, so don't hold her responsible for it. Clearly there is a saner side. But yeah.
Saner?
Yeah, the other side of your DNA is the sane side. You got my crazy side.
I don't know if I'd call them sane, but okay.
Saner. I said saner. I didn't say sane. There nowhere was there sane. It was saner.
And yes, she did give birth to me, okay? I was not adopted. Even though I don't look anything like you.
That's not the story being passed. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, people think we're sisters when we're out in public.
I get a kick out of it when we're out shopping together. I will purposefully call her mom and like be very obvious about it just because I love the way that people look at us and are like, what?
The day that we had to leave, we didn't board the flight when I got the call that my dad passed away. We couldn't drive home, so we went to the mall that was close to there. And we were walking through a jewelry store, and you had looked at something, and then I looked at something, and then the woman said, "Oh, you know, it's so funny because your friend over there, your sister, she looked at the same thing." And I'm like, "Oh, what friend?" I'm like looking around the store trying to find who she was, and she goes, "Yeah, you know the one over there with the brown hair?" I'm like, "The girl over there." "Yeah, your sister. Is she your sister, your friend?" "That's my daughter." And so that was kind of cool because that's only been what 3 years ago. So I mean, yeah, it is cool for me. Probably sucks for her because she's like, "Mom, I don't know if you look young or I look old." And so I'm like, "Honey, just split the difference. We both look young." And so yeah. But it's cool to have people think that we're sisters. Because I think she looks like me. She doesn't think she looks like me, but
I don't.
Now none of my kids look like me a lot.
Whatever.
But there are certain
The
things
boys all
that
look like you.
There are certain things about them that look like Trenton is the blonde hair, blue eye, which I started out blonde hair, blue eye, but I'm going brunette. So that kind of, and then Dallin has used to be thick hair. And then Keston has my longer, narrow face. So
They all look like her. I'm the only one who doesn't.
You know what? When women in my group say, "You know what? Are you sure those are your children?" Wait a minute. They're sweet like you, so maybe they are, but are you sure they're your children?
No, they look exactly like you.
I don't think so.
I do.
I mean, like I said, I think all of you have bits and pieces of me. I mean, I can see you, my eyes. You have my eyes. Yeah. And like I said, Trenton has, and then, So, thanks for getting to know us, guys.
Yay.
It's over.
Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by subscribing and giving it 2 thumbs way up. And make sure to tap on that notification bell so you can join us next time. Bye everyone.